apparently, the delay of the iPhone 12 may have actually worked in Apple's favor. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to even keep it all together at this point. It's been such a blur. 2019, 2020, 2021. What's been going on? I mean, that's 3 separate numbers that feel like one. Feels like one long year that has been since this stuff's been going on. But anyway, as far as the iPhone 12 was concerned, it was like one of the first times in a long time that Apple really missed its usual cycle for getting a product out. And of course, production delays and things like this, it's not something that they had engineered to be that way. But there's some data here from Counterpoint that seems to indicate that there may be some sort of an advantage to having been a little bit later. Here's what it says as far as the delayed launch benefits. Apple may have declined slightly in 2020, but this doesn't tell the full story. The decision to delay the launch of the iPhone 12 appears to have paid off for 2 reasons. First, it gave the iPhone 11 and iPhone SE the opportunity to demonstrate remarkable longevity, selling continuously well in many markets throughout the year. So we can talk specifically here about the iPhone SE, which just seemed to hit at the absolute perfect moment at $399 being the cheapest Apple option currently. The world was just, in a rough spot. And here comes the cheapest iPhone you can buy. And people are just like, oh, damn, I got this iPhone 6 or 7 or whatever, 8. Here we go. Touch ID on an Apple device in a time where everyone was wearing masks. Like, it was just great timing, great price, etc. And it could have, in a way, been, if it had less time to be sort of the headline device, it may have not done justice to just how perfect of a product, full all things considered, from a economic environment standpoint, pandemic standpoint, and things. So there was an advantage there. I got to sit around as the latest Apple released smartphone for a while. Second, it built up demand for the new device, which, when it finally launched in October, sold spectacularly. In fact, the iPhone 12 was Apple's most successful device launched to date and drove Apple to a record share high of 30% in Q4 2020. So it was kind of like a supply and demand thing, almost like the PlayStation 5 or something. It was like the more you told people they can't have it or that it's delayed, the more that somebody got excited about it. So that appears to have taken place as well. Obviously, smartphone sales, they analyzed Europe here specifically. In 2020, they were down 14% on the previous year. And Apple wasn't completely immune either, falling 4% from 2019 levels. So the market impacts are pretty obvious here. People, humans, they're sitting back, they're chilling. They're like, you know what? I don't need that new smartphone right now, which is understandable given the landscape of planet Earth. However, Apple seems to have weathered the storm fairly well. And I just say, man, as far as myself gathering a new perspective here on, like, speaking of the iPhone SE, speaking of price points and flagships and this and that, I did the video relatively recently looking at the best-selling devices on Amazon. And I saw, okay, here it is. It's an iPhone 8, a refurbished iPhone 8 at $179. And I'm sitting there saying, this is not reflected in tech content because of the nature of which how many devices are getting featured. And of course, our selection towards premium only. I mean, look, it would be this way for anybody. If you were sitting here and they sent you every smartphone on Earth, you would be gravitating towards the premium ones because they're sitting there and you're not, it's not a big consideration for you. Oh, it's $1,000. Oh, it's, and that's just being honest with the thing. But it's not an accurate reflection of what's going on in the world. And so the aim with that particular video and experiment, like, let me just grab one of these refurbished phones and see what's really going on over here. And the truth of the matter is, that the public is, cost conscious right now, and rightfully so. And that's the success of the SE, and it's the success of these refurb phones as well. And it's the success of the cheaper Pixel devices, which were also in that list. The most successful Pixel device, $349, the 4A. So I'm just saying reality check. That's all I'm saying, amongst the community. And those of us that have been doing this for so long that sometimes you got to stick your head up. Sometimes you've been snoozing. That's where I was at. 10 years. 10 years.
It's a big chunk of time.
10 years, it's piling on top of you. You got to poke your head out every so often. All the phones are piling on top. You got to poke your head out. Figure out what's, walk the streets.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying figuratively.
Yeah.
See what's going on, man. Sheesh.